My name is Claire Donovan, and this is my story. Born and raised in a small town in Massachusetts, I never thought I'd end up at an old girls' hostel, let alone one with a terrifying history. But life has a way of throwing curveballs, and when I accepted the job as a history teacher at St. Agnes Academy, I had no idea that my life would change forever. St. Agnes Academy is a prestigious all-girls school located in the heart of New England. It was founded in 1732 by the Sisters of Mercy, a group of nuns dedicated to providing education to young women. The school has a rich history, with generations of students passing through its halls. But behind its ivy-covered walls lies a dark secret that I would soon come to know all too well. The first day I set foot on the campus, I felt a chill run down my spine. The old Gothic buildings, with their towering spires and intricate stonework, seemed to loom over me, casting long shadows in the fading afternoon light. As I walked through the archway leading to the main courtyard, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The headmistress, Sister Margaret, greeted me warmly and showed me to my quarters. The teacher's hostel was located in a separate building at the edge of the campus, a sprawling Victorian mansion that had been converted into living quarters for the staff. My room was on the third floor, overlooking the dense forest that bordered the school grounds. As I unpacked my bags and settled into my new home, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The room was cold, despite the warmth of the late summer air, and the walls seemed to close in around me. I tried to brush off the feeling as nerves, but deep down I knew that something was not right. That night I had my first encounter with the spirit that would come to haunt my every waking moment. I was lying in bed, drifting off to sleep, when I heard a faint whisper. "Get out," the voice said, barely more than a breath. I sat up, my heart pounding, and looked around the room. There was no one there. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination, but the feeling of dread lingered. I eventually fell into a fitful sleep, plagued by nightmares of dark corridors and shadowy figures. The next morning, I mentioned the experience to one of my colleagues, Mrs. Thompson, an English teacher who had been at St. Agnes for over 20 years. She gave me a knowing look and told me to meet her in the library after classes. As I made my way to the library later that day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The hallways were empty, the students having gone home for the weekend, but I felt a presence following me. When I finally reached the library, Mrs. Thompson was waiting for me at a table in the corner, a stack of old books and newspapers in front of her. "Sit down, Claire," she said, her voice low and serious. "There's something you need to know about this place." Over the next few hours, Mrs. Thompson told me the chilling history of St. Agnes Academy. In 1732, the school had been founded by a group of nuns led by Mother Agnes, a strict and devout woman who ruled the school with an iron fist. She was known for her harsh discipline and unwavering dedication to her faith. But Mother Agnes had a dark secret. She was involved in the occult, using dark rituals and demonic forces to maintain her power over the school. When her activities were discovered, the other nuns tried to stop her, but it was too late. In a fit of rage, Mother Agnes unleashed a demonic entity that wreaked havoc on the school. The other nuns managed to trap the entity within the walls of the school, but not before it claimed the lives of several students and staff members. Mother Agnes herself was consumed by the demon, her soul forever bound to the school. For over 160 years, the spirit of Mother Agnes has haunted St. Agnes Academy, tormenting those who come too close to uncovering her dark secrets. Many have tried to banish her spirit, but none have succeeded. As Mrs. Thompson finished her story, I felt a cold chill settle over me. The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, and I realized that the whisper I had heard the night before was the voice of Mother Agnes, warning me to leave. But I couldn't leave. I had a job to do, and I was determined to uncover the truth about the haunting of St. Agnes Academy. Over the next few weeks, I delved deeper into the school's history, poring over old records and speaking with former students and staff members. The more I learned, the more I realized that the spirit of Mother Agnes was not just a ghost. She was a powerful demonic entity, capable of manipulating the physical world and causing real harm to those who crossed her path. The haunting became more intense as I continued my investigation. Doors would slam shut on their own, lights would flicker, and the air would grow cold and oppressive. The whispers of "get out" became more frequent and more insistent, filling my mind with a sense of dread and despair. One night, as I was working late in my room, I heard a loud crash from the hallway. I rushed out to find a large mirror shattered on the floor, the shards of glass glinting in the dim light. As I bent down to pick up the pieces, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. I spun around, but there was no one there. The hallway was empty, but I could feel the presence of Mother Agnes, watching me from the shadows. I knew then that I had to do something to stop her. I reached out to a paranormal investigator, Dr. Jonathan Hayes, who had a reputation for dealing with powerful spirits and demonic entities. He agreed to come to St. Agnes Academy and conduct an investigation. Dr. Hayes arrived a few days later, bringing with him an array of equipment and a team of researchers. He set up cameras and sensors throughout the school, hoping to capture evidence of the haunting. For days, we watched and waited, the tension mounting with each passing hour. The atmosphere in the school grew increasingly oppressive, and the whispers of "get out" became almost constant. One night, as we were reviewing the footage from the cameras, we saw something that made our blood run cold. In the corner of the screen, we saw a shadowy figure standing in the hallway, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. It was the spirit of Mother Agnes, her face twisted in a grotesque mask of rage and hatred. Dr. Hayes knew that we had to act quickly. He devised a plan to banish the spirit of Mother Agnes and free the school from her demonic grip. The ritual involved a series of incantations and the use of sacred objects to weaken the entity and force it to leave. The night of the ritual was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. As we began the incantations, the air grew cold and the lights flickered. The whispers of "get out" grew louder, filling the room with a deafening roar. Suddenly, the spirit of Mother Agnes appeared before us, her eyes blazing with fury. She lunged at us, but Dr. Hayes stood firm, continuing the incantations. The room shook, and the walls seemed to close in around us. Just when it seemed that all hope was lost, a blinding light filled the room, and the spirit of Mother Agnes let out a piercing scream. The light grew brighter, and the figure of Mother Agnes began to dissolve, her form disintegrating into nothingness. The room fell silent, and the oppressive energy lifted. The spirit of Mother Agnes was gone, banished from the school forever. In the aftermath of the ritual, the atmosphere in the school changed dramatically. The whispers ceased, and the air grew warm and welcoming. The students and staff felt a renewed sense of peace and security, and the dark history of St. Agnes Academy began to fade into memory. Dr. Hayes and his team left, satisfied that the school was no longer haunted. I continued my work as a teacher, but my perspective had changed. I no longer dismissed the supernatural as mere superstition. I knew that there were forces in this world that we couldn't fully understand, and I had come face to face with one of them. The experience left a lasting mark on me, and I became more involved in the study of the paranormal. I wanted to help others who were dealing with similar hauntings and to uncover the truth about the spirits that lingered in the shadows. Years later, I still think about my time at St. Agnes Academy. The memory of Mother Agnes and the terrifying nights I spent in that old Gothic building will always be with me. but I take comfort in knowing that her spirit has found peace and the school is no longer a place of fear and darkness. The story of the Haunted Church of San Jose is one that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. It taught me the importance of compassion, forgiveness, and the power of faith. And it showed me that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for redemption and peace. The weeks following the ritual were calm and peaceful. The church felt different, as if a weight had been lifted. The members of the congregation noticed the change as well, and many spoke of feeling a renewed sense of hope and connection to their faith. Father Thomas and I continued to honor Sister Agnes's memory, holding regular masses and vigils to ensure that her spirit remained at peace. We also started a fund in her name to support local charities and provide assistance to those in need. The story of Sister Agnes spread throughout the community, and people came from all over to visit the church and pay their respects. The church became a place of healing and reflection, a sanctuary for those seeking solace and understanding. I continued my work as the night caretaker, but my perspective had changed. I no longer felt fear or unease in the church. Instead, I felt a deep sense of connection and purpose. I knew that I was part of something bigger, something that transcended the boundaries of life and death. I also became more involved in the community, volunteering my time to help those in need and sharing my story with others. I wanted people to understand that the supernatural is not something to be feared, but something to be respected and understood. As the years passed, the church continued to thrive, the congregation grew, and the community became more united. The story of Sister Agnes became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a path to redemption. I eventually moved on from my role as the night caretaker, but I remained deeply connected to the church and the community. I found a new job as a counselor, helping others navigate their own struggles and find unable to find peace. I sat beside her, listening to her story of loneliness and regret. "I missed my family so much," she said, her voice breaking. "I ran away from the school, but I got lost in the woods and never made it back." My heart ached for Emily. She had been searching for her way home for decades, her spirit unable to move on. I promised her that I would help her find the peace she deserved. Father Thomas and I held another vigil, this time to honor Emily's memory. We invited the congregation to join us in prayer and reflection, hoping to guide her spirit to the light. As we prayed, I felt the presence of Sister Agnes beside me, her spirit lending strength and comfort. The sobbing ceased, and a sense of calm settled over the bell tower. Emily's spirit appeared before us, her tears replaced by a gentle smile. "Thank you," she whispered before fading into the light. The church continued to be a place of healing and reflection. Spirits would occasionally reach out, seeking solace and guidance. Each time, Father Thomas and I, along with the congregation, would come together to offer our support and prayers. The haunted Church of San Jose became known as a sanctuary for lost souls, a place where spirits could find peace and redemption. It was a journey that brought us closer together as a community and deepened our faith in the power of forgiveness and love. Years passed, and I eventually retired from my role at the church, but the lessons I learned and the connections I made remained with me. I continued to share my story, hoping to inspire others to embrace the unknown and seek out the truth. The legacy of Sister Agnes and the spirits of St. Mary's Church live on, a testament to the enduring power of faith, hope, and love. The church remains a place of solace and healing, a beacon of light in a world filled with darkness. And as I look back on my journey, I am grateful for the experiences that shaped me and the spirits that guided me. The haunted Church of San Jose taught me that even in the face of fear and uncertainty, there is always a path to redemption and peace. My journey with the paranormal didn't end with the haunted Church of San Jose. In fact, it was just the beginning. Word of my experiences spread, and soon I found myself being contacted by people from all over the country, each with their own stories of hauntings and supernatural occurrences. One such case brought me to the heart of San Francisco, to an old Victorian house that had been in the same family for generations. The current owner, Mrs. Whitaker, had reached out to me, desperate for help. She and her family had been experiencing terrifying phenomena, from disembodied voices to objects moving on their own. They were at their wits' end and needed someone who could help them understand what was happening. I arrived at the Whitaker house on a foggy afternoon, the city's infamous mist clinging to the old buildings like a shroud. The house itself was beautiful, with its ornate woodwork and stained glass windows, but there was an undeniable sense of dread that hung over it. Mrs. Whitaker greeted me at the door, her face etched with worry. She led me through the house, recounting the strange occurrences they had experienced. As she spoke, I could feel the weight of the spirits that lingered within the walls, their energy palpable and oppressive. I set up my equipment, just as I had at St. Agnes Academy, and began my investigation. It wasn't long before the activity started. Doors slammed shut, cold drafts swept through the rooms, and the whispers of long-dead voices filled the air. One night, as I was reviewing footage in the living room, I felt a sudden chill. I turned to see a figure standing in the doorway, its eyes hollow and lifeless. It was a man, dressed in old-fashioned clothing, his face contorted in a mask of rage. He pointed at me, his mouth opening in a silent scream. I stood my ground, my heart pounding in my chest. "Who are you?" I demanded. "What do you want?" The figure faded away, leaving the room in an eerie silence. I knew then that I was dealing with a powerful spirit, one that had been trapped in the house for many years. I delved into the history of the Whitaker family, uncovering a tragic tale of betrayal and murder. The spirit was that of Charles Whitaker, a man who had been wronged by his own brother and left to die. His rage and sorrow had bound him to the house, and he had been seeking revenge ever since. I knew that the only way to free Charles's spirit was to confront the truth of his death and offer him the closure he needed. I gathered the Whitaker family and conducted a ritual, calling upon the spirits of the past to help guide Charles to the light. As we chanted, the air grew thick with energy. The figure of Charles appeared once again, his eyes filled with a mixture of rage and sorrow. But as we continued the ritual, his expression softened, and a sense of peace washed over him. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "I can finally rest." The oppressive energy lifted, and the house felt lighter, more welcoming. The Whitaker family was finally free from the haunting that had plagued them for so long. I continued to work as a paranormal investigator, helping those in need and uncovering the truth behind the hauntings that tormented them. Each case was unique, filled with its own challenges and mysteries, but I approached each one with the same determination and compassion. The experiences I had at St. Agnes Academy and the Whitaker House taught me that the supernatural is not something to be feared, but something to be understood and respected. The spirits that linger in this world are often seeking closure and peace, and it is our duty to help them find it. My journey with the paranormal has been long and often terrifying, but it has also been deeply rewarding. I have met incredible people, both living and dead, and have learned valuable lessons about the nature of life, death, and the human spirit. As I continue my work, I am constantly reminded of the importance of compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. The spirits that reach out to us are often burdened by their own pain and suffering, and it is our responsibility to help them find the peace they so desperately need. The Haunted Church of San Jose, the Whitaker House, and the many other cases I have encountered have all shaped me into the person I am today. I am grateful for the experiences, both good and bad, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those who are struggling with the unknown. The journey is far from over, and I know that there are many more spirits out there in need of help. But I am ready to face whatever comes my way, armed with the knowledge and experience I have gained. The world of the paranormal is vast and mysterious, but I am no longer afraid. I have embraced my role as a guide and protector, and I will continue to help those who seek my aid. For now, I will rest and reflect on the incredible journey I have taken. The Haunted Church of San Jose will always hold a special place in my heart, a reminder of the power of faith, hope, and love. And as I look forward to the future, I am filled with a sense of purpose and determination, ready to face the unknown with courage and compassion.
If you like our videos, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe for more real contents.